Hello, one and all, and welcome to the second night of pre-season racing of League of Europe Formula 2. We are here at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, for what, as I mentioned, will be the second night of pre-season. This time, both myself and James Head, who once again joins me in the commentary box, will be taking you through it. This is the first lobby, which resembles what may be the top division for next season of Formula 2. So I guess we've brought this in. So obviously I am Daniel Hogarth, once again taking you through, and joining me, as I already mentioned before, it is James Head. How you doing, man?
It's nice that you didn't mention your own name twice then. You mentioned my name twice there. Absolutely brilliant. I like it a lot. Yeah, get your priorities right indeed. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well and keeping safe, of course, in these troubled times. We are here tonight, as Dan has said, at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. First Grand Prix, of course, held here in 2012. Hamilton won that day. It's a Herman Tilke designed track, 20 corners awaiting these drivers. These F2 cars, though, I think they're going to struggle quite a lot, especially if you're going to have an unstable setup around here. You're going to be really struggling, especially through the S section, coming through 3, 4, 5, and 6, which resembles sort of Maggotts and Beckett's. That's going to be a real struggle, I think, for some of the drivers out there.
Yeah, of course, much less downforce than these guys are used to experiencing when they drive the Formula 1 cars that they're, I imagine, a bit more suited and a bit more experienced to. One of the, standout features about this track is that it nabs quite a lot of its corners from other circuits. You've obviously got the Maggotts and Beckett's inspired S section. You've got that turn 16, 17 and 18, which resembles the turn 8 at Istanbul Park. So you have a number of different tracks kind of merged into this one, which makes for a rather varied mix-up. And the track that usually I'd say produces pretty good racing. And certainly last season in these Formula 2 cars, the racing was superb here, and I'm hoping for the same yet again. We are starting to see some of the drivers readying up now. And James, what do you expect? Obviously, you haven't commentated on a top division race in Formula 2 for a while now, but what are you expecting from tonight?
Honestly expecting these guys to try and lay it on the line. We hopefully are not going to see anybody retire, anybody quit out on track. Pre-season is there purely to test these drivers and to find out what pace everyone is at. It's simple as that. And then if anybody does quit, it's just a shame on themselves, I think, to be honest, as well as obviously not getting the full width and the full breadth of data that the stewards will be getting. We're about to start as we go in towards qualifying. One-shot qualifying, of course, 50% feature race and then a reversed grid race. The top 8, of course, are going to be reversed in that reverse grid race. I cannot wait for this track, though. Turn 11 as well, just to mention on, I think turn 11 and 12 is sort of like India, New Delhi back in the day.
Yeah.
In that Indian circuit. Through turn 11, obviously different way round, going left-handed rather than right-handed, but turns 11 and 12, obviously, I think, very keen to the Indian fans out there, and I hope we are getting people tuning from everywhere tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we get as many viewers as Challenger Series or whatever. Let's hope for that.
2,200, imagine that.
Imagine the scenes. I've certainly never experienced those viewing numbers. I don't think you have either. Let's get into a race here tonight. I did see, I think it was XL Dylan. Disconnected from the session, so hopefully he gets back in, but maybe not before the lights go out. Otherwise, we could have some rather major lobby issues, of course. And yeah, I know that certainly the two of us have experienced quite a few of those. Now, though, we are going to get into qualifying here. We're going to watch QVR Chill heading around here, who wasn't here last week, so we're going to see what he can really do in this first lobby. Now, of course, on the uphill climb towards the first corner. Very long braking zone there, slow speed, getting into the apex, running out on the exit. Nice clean exit from Chill, and he is on his way now, sweeping through turn 2, nice and flat out. Now to turn 3, this is going to be a real test of the drivers and cars. Going through this S section, a little bit offline from Chill, but he just about keeps it within the track limits as he heads through turn 6, and you flick it left into turn 7, carrying on yet again then. Hold it tight to the curb at turn 8 then, through turns 9 and 10. Try and carry as much speed up over the white line though for Chell, and that's going to be invalidated. We'll keep up over them because he is still pushing out there. We can get a good idea of the rest of this lap then. Now, out of turn 11, on to this very, very long back straight. Well, the longest on the calendar. You can see it kind of undulates, goes up and down, and the slipstreaming opportunities with DRS going to be very prevalent on the run down into here at turn 12. Come the race, onto the brakes you can see then, run it out onto the curb, and now into this slow speed last sector, braking into turn 13. Very difficult traction zone here as you head into turns 15 and 16 there. Difficult apex to reach. Chell just about managing it, but of course that lap time is not going to count for him. Now to the fantastic turn 16, 17 and 18 there. You dare left off as you go as fast as you can through the apex of the corner, now to the penultimate at turn 19. It's a high speed ending to the lap here, and then you're onto the brakes yet again to the final corner at turn 20. Let's look to the left hand side of the screen as it's going to be QVR Campbell who edges Toxic out of pole position then, and only 10 cars setting valid lap times. Campbell at the top there, Lando second, joins him on the front row there. Campbell's teammate for this event, Toxic, is third on the grid, the defending champion in front of Verstappen fourth there. He just edges out Miami fifth, and Brake in sixth place there, rounding out the third row. Larkin ends up seventh, of course, the championship contender from last season in front of Zound about eighth, Nolan ninth, and Tin Can 10th. Then everyone else on the grid, TDB, Killer Blue, Chell, Risa, Rocco, Dylan, and Matthias, not able to set lap times. Has an incredibly high amount of invalidations in that qualifying session, James.
There was at least 3 or 4, I think, coming through that S section. Rocco and Risa certainly invalidated through that section. I was on board with Toxic for the majority of that lap as well. And Toxic was 8th or 9th coming out of the first sector split. So to be third and to be 2/10 off Campbell was a really good lap, I think. Campbell, of course, on top. Lando in second. My co-commentator in the 24 Hours of F1 event, showing all the love to my 24 Hours of F1 co-commentators as well.
Hello.
Of course. But, yeah, Dan alongside being one of them, and Lando, I think, really proving that he could be one to watch. If Rocco can grasp these cars as well, we were speaking just before we came live, if Rocco can grasp these cars, I think he could be a leading contender going forward. It's pre-season, everything is on the line. I can see Dylan has rejoined the session as well. 18 drivers about to do battle, of course, here in the I was going to say the United Arab Emirates there, for goodness sake. Circuit of the Americas, I should say, and we're about to get started in about 15 seconds' time.
Yeah, we can get right into that. Then you did mention that you're impressed by Lando, and he is a driver that I am really looking forward to seeing out on track this season. He joined late, about halfway through last season, but he made quite a splash, and he was, in my opinion, and I think most others' opinion as well, the closest driver to Toxic on raw pace throughout the second half, and he was able to grab quite a few victories as well on merit. So keep an eye out for that guy, and he is of course right alongside the experienced QVR Campbell. That should be a fun battle to watch then, and I can suspect that some of the other drivers further in behind are going to put up quite a fight as well. So it's Campbell, Lando, Toxic, Verstappen, front two rows, and they are 4 drivers that really dominated the back half of last season, I'd say. So certainly one to look out for. Rocco, you mentioned, down in 15th place. We'll see if he can move forward in the race. And interesting to note, with the free tyre choices, we're seeing a bit of a mix here. Some drivers inside the top 10 going for mediums. The top 4 on super softs is a 2 compound gap as Killer Blue and TDB go out the session. But now we're going to see that difference in strategies there. Miami, Brake and Larkin, I think, really notable drivers going for the mediums ahead of this race.
Yeah, Miami obviously is top on the set of mediums, and these guys, unlike the real Formula One, do have the free choice of tyres. So the top 4 still on a set of super soft compounder tyres. Videma, Tin Can and Killer Blue also on a set of super soft compounder tyres. Everyone else, though, on a set of mediums, and it really bears into question the high tyre deg around this track. Super softs, I think, can last for about lap 5, lap 6 before going off. Then they'll be on a set of mediums for until the end of the race. Those guys on a set of mediums, however, though, like Miami, Brake and Larkin, especially 5th down to 7th, those guys will be hoping to go over the halfway points and then towards about lap 10, lap 11, and then try and push on a set of super softs right at the end of the race. It's going to be a long time as well for TDB and Killer Blue to sit there waiting on the grid as well, both of them having a bit of a collision down in the background. But I am going to flip the coin, essentially, and I'm going to turn to my co-commentator here. He can see what is coming from an absolute mile off. I predicted the top 3 wrongly last week, with Matthias starting, who I predicted for 3rd, and he finished, he didn't even finish. So, who, my friend, is your top 3?
Alright, let's spice things up here. I'm going to say Verstappen for the win from 4th, Campbell for 2nd, and I'll say Miami for 3rd, because...
Who's that spinning in the background there? Who was that? That was Rocco.
Yeah, I didn't quite clock that, but Rocco, bit of an odd preparation for the race, now has to try and recover ahead of this one. So now we're focusing though on this feature race, and we'll see how it happens. I think Miami 3rd is the real wild card there, but I think that alternate strategy, as well as the fact that it's easy to pick up penalties, and he's usually quite good at avoiding those, he could really shine here today. But I suspect that I'm probably going to be very wrong, as I usually am. But now, we are all settled for the race. Let's hope that we get away nice and cleanly. The lights are indeed coming on. Here we go for the feature race. We have 5 lights. And we're away! And it's a great start inside from Lando! What a launch that was with the ladies! Jump Campbell immediately! It was a good start from Toxic as well! From the back to Verstappen looking down the inside of the first corner. They all pinch into one! But Lando leads from Campbell 2nd place. Toxic trying to draw back alongside Verstappen, who runs round the outside of turn 2 as they head into the A section for the first time. And it's Toxic that has the back out of it then. From the back, Brake makes a very good start. He leads Larkin down there, and Miami, and now Zonema getting up alongside Miami down there, trying to run it round the outside. No, he's going to get run out of road then, and the experienced Dutchman has to settle behind with Nolan Knight and Killer Blue rounding out the top 10 on this first lap up the road. Toxic looking at Verstappen, heading into the hairpin at 11, just hangs back for now as Killer Blue down the inside. Oh no, can he get that one stuck? Yes he can, and Tin Can now trying to get up and alongside, just losing out though on the exit. They run it down the back straight then for the first time. It's been a nice and clean first lap there. I haven't seen much contact down there, it must be said. Oh. And now Toxic with a lunge on Verstappen at turn 12 then. Verstappen running out wide and wheel to wheel again in a turn 13. Toxic on the outside, Verstappen holding on the inside, trying to run Toxic out of space. A penalty for Toxic, and he dives it in a turn 16. Parks it on the apex and will just about maintain that 3rd place with a penalty to his name then. Brake and Larkin battling away. It's been a chaotic opening lap. Zonema, Nolan now going at it then. Down there at turn 17, through goes Zonema, runs it out wide on the exit. A thrilling opening lap is Zonema running out wide, and now Nolan back underneath him, heading into the final corner on the first lap then. Who's braver? Nolan on the inside line. Can he get that one done? Can he get it stuck? Yes he can. Zonema out wide again then. And what an opening lap that was. Chaos to shape up the race here at the start of it, but Lando leads then, and now Campbell Toxic, they're going to try and chase him down then. The 2 Univirtuosos chasing down the race leader, but Lando leads head on the 2nd lap.
Yeah, Killer Blue right on the back of Miami as well, coming through the S section once again for the 2nd time, not for the 3rd time. Don't adjust your screens, it's the graphics that are wrong. Matthias, by the way, did pick up a little bit of damage. A side-by-side actually between Zudema and Nolan has been contact further down, I think, with Tin Can and Matthias, if I'm not mistaken. The graphics are still glitching themselves, but Nolan's managed to get it through onto a Diamond Breakers round, coming out of turn 10. Not sure what happened there with the dams. There's fighting going on further down the field. Killer Blue trying to launch it down the inside of Miami. The graphics are all over the place in terms of the timings. On the left-hand side, Killer Blue really fighting that and gets the move done in the Prima on the BWT, but now the BWT is going to come back. There's no DRS this time around, and Miami closes in all the way down the straight. Tin Can, Risa as well, going side by side further down the field, but here is Miami down the inside, and he'd be wanting to go from Texas to Florida, but sadly he didn't get that one stuck, and he's ended up in the Atlantic, I think, with that one. Killer Blue still 6th, Miami in 7th.
And Nolan battling away with Zonema yet again. Those two have gone at it hugely over these first few laps. It's further down the field. Tin Can looking down the inside, back down a bit, and Risa now trying to get back at him though, around the outside, and Chill there as well, and they're all battling away down there in the 3rd sector. Superb stuff. Look at this, all the way through into turn 19. Chill with the inside line forces his way through, muscles past, and Risa has to give it up. Now Rocco's down the inside. That's battling further down down the field is electric. They are now coming out of the final corner. Rocco jumps Risa. He is up in a 12th place in what has been a thrilling opening to this race. And Zerma now attacking Nolan up to the outside at turn 1. He's going to get run out there. I think that he's looking for traction on the way out. Doesn't come through, and the Carlin has to slide behind. No, he goes to the inside 2 from nowhere. Zerma trying to snatch the 8th place through turn 3. They're side by side, but through turn 4, Zerma runs out wide. It's not over yet. Look at Tin Can coming around the outside of Nolan at turn 6. Wow, that is brilliant, but it's not done because Nolan strikes back to the outside. Now in a turn 9, they are wheel to wheel. Tin Can backs out of it on the inside. Rocco will get past Chill in the process. What racing here in this midfield. Absolutely incredible stuff. We barely mentioned the top 4. They are running away in the front. Is now Chill draws alongside Rocco coming out of the exit of turn 11. Tucks in to that slipstream. Now has a good run. At the back of him, looks to the inside leg. Can he get that one done? Then they're going to run side by side, going down in a turn 12 then as a late launch from Tin Can on Nolan. Runs him out wide of the wheel to wheel yet again. Tin Can on the outside, Nolan on the inside. This is brilliant stuff. And Tin Can trying to run it round the outside. Does he get that one done? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Nolan strikes back down the inside, and Risa now dives it. Forces Rocco out when Risa gets through. Chill now trying to rally back around the outside. Gets cut off just about. James, please take over. This has been incredible. It's now to lead us into the pits already on 3.
That's a very early pit stop, I've got to be honest. They're on the end of lap 3 onto lap 4, and Lando and Toxic are in, even before I predicted it, to be honest. Also, Tin Can is into the pit lane. Driving standards, got to be honest, have to be looked at. I know it's pre-season, but the driving standards, the one-to-one racing, definitely needs to be looked at as Lando defends, coming up the straight, actually, from Chill. It's Risa, sorry, and Chill on board with a different battle here. Risa towards the inside line. Chill just parked the Apex lovely, and now Rocco's right on the back of him for 10th position. Can he try and get the move done? Rocco right on the back of Risa. Risa looks quite quick, but I've got to say the driving standards just need to simmer down a little bit, if I've got to be honest. Killer Blue is right on the back of Larkin as well. I think Larkin is actually overtaking Killer Blue out on track. I wonder if there's been an incident with him, because Killer Blue, I think, was ahead of Larkin, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it might just be his tyres going off. We've seen them pitting so early on these super softs, and Killer Blue may have just had to relinquish that position. Will he fight back though? On the back straight then, the DRS is open, but Larkin has a few car lengths in hand, but those car lengths are rapidly disappearing here as Killer Blue to the inside line, heading in to turn 12. Can he get it stopped in turn 10? Just about makes the apex. Runs it away, but he'll hold it. Now Risa battling with Chill, squeeze it right onto the curb there. Risa getting his elbows out with everyone, it seems like, in those battles, in those fights. And Chill again has to defend from the aggressor Rocco, who looks onto his rear wing as he entered turn 16 on his contact. Did he get wing damage? I think he may have there as he ran into the rear wing on his contact. Round goes Chill and he collects Rocco. Gutting for the pair of them. That was just a mistake from Chill, and Rocco had nowhere to go but into the side of him. And two drivers that had a great fight throughout this race, going out of contention now. I think they have wing damage, they're going to have to pit.
Yeah, so unfortunate. Chill just lost the car coming out of the corner, and unfortunately for Rocco, wrong place at the wrong time. He tried to avoid it, switched the wrong way. Simple as that. It's an incident. It's as simple as that. Larkin's run on the back of Killer Blue still for second and third. By the way, Campbell has just came into the pit lane, as well as Wadema, as well as Chill, as well as Rocco, who came in obviously to repair their front wing. And they're going to have to maybe do a two-stop, because they've gone onto a set of mediums. Then they'll have to go onto a set of super soft compounded tyre, because they started obviously on the medium compounded tyre. Verstappen are leading 5.5 seconds, but look at the gap just being whistled away. Killer Blue there second, Larkin third. Tin Can is going to be miles ahead of the likes of Wadema, and he's going to be behind Wadema actually coming out of the pit lane. Campbell is ahead of Toxic by 7/10 of a second as Toxic picks up his second penalty. Rocco, by the way, picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane as well. And those lovely black and white flags are ominous signs that Newcastle is going to win over in the next couple of days.
We'll see about that. I can't say that I'm going to be paying much attention to that, but we'll see what happens. As I'm not sure what you're clocking there out on track. Larkin getting very close to the back of Killer Blue, and those two have had a real take-down battle. Of course, Larkin, by some margin, is the leading medium starter and is looking pretty comfortable in this race, sitting right on the rear wing of Killer Blue 195. Now Verstappen and Killer Blue have done well actually to take the tyres this long in a race where tyre dig does look very, very high. We'll see what they're like on the mediums now for the net race leaders. But into the pits comes Verstappen then. Where does he emerge relative to some of the race leaders? A lot of penalties out there on the track at the moment, which is favouring the likes of Campbell, who runs in a good position with inside the race lead and without a penalty to his name just yet. Now let's keep an eye out, see where these guys are all emerging. QVR Verstappen now is through the pit lane. And now going into the pit box. I'm not sure, what have you observed there, James?
Lando is now ahead of Campbell from the pit stops. Just realised that.
Wasn't he leading anyway? I'm confused.
No. I don't know. Answers on the postcard, please. Verstappen, by the way, just rejoining behind Toxic, and Killer Blue rejoining behind Verstappen as well, out on track.
Only the highest quality commentaries from us two, then not knowing who was leading the race. But Lando, for the moment, has a net race lead. Campbell, though, is chasing him down back there. Toxic as well, trying to go with his de facto teammate for this race. He is reining him in. They run 8th and 9th in a row, but 2nd and 3rd when the pit stops do finally evolve and come through. When will the medium starters come into the pit lane? It gives us a good gauge of how the tyre wear is looking, and if these guys are going to survive on a one-stop strategy. Seeing how quickly those super softs went off, it does create a bit of a cause for a bit of concern, I reckon, for the drivers out there. Let's see if they can take it all the way through to the flag. XL Lando still holding off Campbell, still holding off Toxic. Toxic is reining in. Campbell a little bit down the straight, not close enough to make a manoeuvre as of yet as the race begins to settle down. These drivers now just hammering down the lap times at the moment. Lando looking very quick up at the front there. He's holding these guys at arm's length as XO Lando, and he's showing again the speed that this guy has, and he's managed to keep everyone back at the moment. Campbell, the pole setter, you suspect, is not out of this one just yet, and without that penalty, James, he surely is the favourite the way things stand.
He is the favourite, but he doesn't look the quickest driver out on track. Lando's pulling away from him through turn 18 there, and Toxic is right on the back of him. He now latches onto the back of him, coming through the left-hand of the final corner at turn 20. We better start lap 7 out of 16. Larkin leads Miami in 2nd, XL Nolan in 3rd. I think Brake has just gone down the inside of Risa. Yep. Down the inside of turn 1, and now Risa's going to try and come back at him. You know the Dane, he likes a fight, and is he going to fight? Oh, a little bit of contact. Coming through the S section now, 3, 4, and then through 5 and 6. Obviously, with the 5 and 3 second time, Billy Risa nearly into the back there, Brake. Look how quick he is going compared to the dams ahead of him, and Risa's running all over the back of him. But Matthias, with damage, is beginning to try and close in slightly, but they've got to worry about Lando, Campbell, Toxic coming into play. Toxic, with 6 seconds worth of penalties, is now latching onto the back of Campbell, who's got none. Toxic runs out wide, loses a bit of traction off the zone there, coming out of turn 9, 10, and then running down towards turn 11. And Risa looks to me as if he's too far back on the back of Brake, and I don't think he's going to go for a late braking move running down the straight. That's a terrible pun.
I reckon there'll be more of those where they came from throughout this season, I suspect. James says, oh, it does get very close to the rear wing of the Dams car, but Risa just sitting in behind for the moment, being patient back there. Toxic is closing in on Campbell, but hasn't been able to find the way through just yet. Campbell holding it back, and it's stopping Toxic, who I think has the best pace out of these race leaders, from chasing down Lando, and Lando now has company on the track, because they are all catching Matthias, as you were alluding to earlier, and you know that now the car that has damage, they are all going to be reeling him in, heading through turn 18 here, and you can see how much more grip, how much more downforce Lando has under him, and he needs to get this move done soon then, but I think he's going to get gifted in his mat. No, he lets him through. I thought he was going to the pit lane, and he does jump completely out of the way there. Is he going to be so kind to the Universe Heroes? He's chasing him down as well. He does have DRS as Matthias. No, he doesn't actually. He gave it up. Of course, Lando got past after the DRS detection point. So Matt, sitting in behind, and Toxic does get very close to the rear wing. Can't get through for the moment then, and they all just sit in a line. Toxic looks ever increasingly quicker as he chases down his teammate, but at the moment Campbell just holding him at arm's length, and now they're going to get stuck here by Matt through this high downforce part of the track. Matt out wide, through goes Campbell and through goes Toxic, but I think as a net gain, I think Lando gained a few tenths of a second, which is what he needs to try and get out that gap. But Campbell looks quick enough at the moment. They can hold back in a third time penalty for Toxic now.
Yeah, Matthias just getting out of the way there. He's got right side end plate damage. I rode on ball with him when he picked up the damage, actually, and that was on lap 1 through the S section. He just really went into the back of somebody, lost his front wing, lost his right side end plate, and his right side end plate damage then proceeded to go onto his rear wing, which was really strange indeed. And here comes Toxic on the back of Campbell, the two de facto teammates here tonight. I think Toxic might have a go here down in towards turn 12. No, he's going to hang off on the back of Campbell. But Campbell and Toxic, this alludes me back to season 2, I think, where these two were fighting for the championship. It was Toxic, I think, who came out on top in season 2. Campbell really fought tooth and nail to try and put him under pressure. Now roles are reversed. Toxic is now putting Campbell under pressure, and sooner rather than later, I think he'll get through. Verstappen, by the way, has just got through on Matthias. Matthias letting through somebody else out on track. Lap 9 out of 16, in fact, about to go. And I think Miami, I thought he was coming into the pit then. I looked at the right-hand side of my screen then. I thought he was coming into the pit, but he's not. So, yeah.
If he was pitting, I think he'd be really stretched to take those tires to the end. The mediums do look like a pretty good race tire as it stands, so they might well just about stay out there till the time that they need, and I suspect that the medium runners on the fresher tires will just about get through to the checker flag yet again. This is an interesting battle shaping up though. Lando chasing down Risa and chasing down Brake, and I do wonder if any of these guys, I'm not sure what you've seen, is that maybe Toxic making an error as Larkin gets a penalty up in the race lead?
Toxic making a really bad mistake coming out of turn 3. Literally looked up as I was typing a message there. Literally looked up, and he went wide coming through turn 2. Recovered the car, almost had a half spin on the curve. Ooh. Unfortunately for Toxic, he's now lost the time. Campbell, though, has just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track. TDB, by the way, in the comment section as well, saying that he got hit 3 times and he's given up. We don't like give her up. Get back in the lobby and get some points. Lando right on the back of Rita, running down the straight. This is the net leader against Rita, the Dane, who fought, of course, hard on the first couple of laps. And now Lando down the inside line. Is he going to make short work of him down the inside line? Yes, he does. In the SMP racing car, he is through, and he's up into 5th position. Rita now falls down into 6th, but Prima against Art there, the Arc Grand Prix car. Forgive me, I thought they were SMP racing, but there we are.
So, yeah, Risa just dropping back there now. Lando looking to make short work of these guys. Now that Campbell has a penalty, has a renewed hope, and chasing down this race victory. He has Brake directly in his line of sight. Can he get the move done then? Is Brake going to dive to the pit lane? I doubt it. No, he does stay out yet again. We have a 5-car train now, building up with a mix of net race leaders and drivers yet to make their pit stops. Look at Lando though. He is rained at Brake. Dash FN. Now he looks into the slipstream, pulls to the inside of turn 1, and surely now he is going to move through and to that 4th place. It's been a fantastic drive from Lando so far. Can he keep this going? He now has 2 cars between himself and his nearest rival, so all of a sudden Lando race victory is looking more and more likely. Look at this though, Campbell has to get on with it. He has to be clinical now with these overtakes as he chases down Risa up in the front. Verstappen a bit further back, picks up a time penalty. He's shadowing these guys in front as Campbell almost looking for it in a turn 8, but he has to wait for an exit over turn 9. Gets a good enough run. Does Campbell, if he wants the race when he has to go for it, down the inside into turn 11. Campbell late on those brakes. Is going to get through now. Lehman from Toxic. Squeeze to the curb, and he couldn't quite get through. He's now going to have to draw back alongside I4 Racer. Gets right up next to it, but he has the DRS to pull him through. Does Toxic. He's getting a slipstream, getting a bit of help, and Racer moving over on him down the straight. But Toxic will get it done. He got a bit of help from his teammate actually. Campbell gave him a bit of a tow going down that back straight, which helped him get in front, and now Toxic runs 7th behind Campbell and behind Brake, who holds back this train as Lando continues to move away a little bit up in the front, driving superbly still as Lando, but if he picks up another time penalty, all of a sudden this race has really turned on its head. Look at QVR Campbell though, taking a very tight line going through turn 18 as now the race leaders begin to dive to the pit lane then. Larkin in first. Miami had to stay out. Nolan into the box as well. Where they guys emerge, they will be on, of course, some super soft tires to chase down the race leaders. Now, Campbell with DRS is surely going to cruise past Break to the inside lane. The question is, can Toxic follow him through then? On the inside lane, Campbell and Toxic again dives late. Wheel to wheel now with Break. He gets traction on the way out, and Toxic, ever the clinical overtaker, does make an opportunistic lunge, getting up in the 4th place. Now has QVR Campbell right in his sights again. How is that battle going to unfold? Verstappen now chasing down Racer in that S section. He's going to get held up a little bit then. Is he going to be maybe opportunistic? Heading in a turn 8, looks at the inside line, the outside line, sorry, backs out of it, but getting a better run on exit. Then Verstappen, beautiful cut back then, gets the inside line, and QVR Verstappen up in the 2nd place. Great move from Verstappen. Now he's still got the race leaders in sight. Can he chase them down? But he runs wide at turn 11. That's not going to help him at all.
Verstappen's got the freshness of the tyres. Lando, though, has gone 2.3 seconds clear of Campbell for what is the race lead, basically, out on track. Verstappen, though, been really impressed with his pace, running in essentially clear air behind these guys. He's beginning to close in on the back of Break, on the back of Toxic. If he can dispose of Break quite easily indeed, he's going to be right on the back of these guys towards the end of the race. He's only got 6 seconds worth of penalties as well. Campbell's got 3 seconds, so he's actually going to be within a fight, really, of Toxic and of Lando, and he tries to go down the inside here, actually, through turn 15 and 16, and there through 16, 17 and 18. He's not going to go around the outside of a Verstappen corner, is he? He might try and switch it through 17, then on the outside of 18, and that is a beautiful move. Verstappen is through the cleanness of the air and an absolute wonder move. Down right around the outside through Verstappen corner. He is through, and in the nick of time, because Break and Risa in behind are into the pit lane. Here comes Toxic on the back of Campbell. The two Univirtuosis are now about to battle out for 2nd position. Out on track. Is Toxic going to go down the inside line? No, he thinks of it, and he's going to try and put Campbell under more pressure. But Verstappen now, 2.2 seconds in clear air. If Campbell and Toxic battle, Verstappen's going to be on the back of these within 3 laps.
Let's see if he can pull that one off. There was noting Lando does have 6 seconds of penalties up in the front of the race. Campbell only has 3, so that is not over yet. Receives the battles out the pit lane, I think, then, as Nolan again and Zanima battling away yet again. And it is Nolan able to get in front there. Matthias picks up a time penalty, but Zanima had to give that one up there. Now this freshness now, is that Matt? He's crashed. Is that coming on the pit entry? He's just retired out on track. And it's one thing to retire in the pit lane, but retiring out on track is a little bit more dodgy in my opinion. But yeah, that does hopefully that's not going to interrupt this race greatly. I don't imagine that it will. As Toxic again chasing down on Campbell. He has the DRS, so he pulls to the inside line, and Toxic in the middle is up in a 2nd place now as he covers off the inside line on QVR Campbell. Now, let's not forget, Campbell is still in a race winning contention against Lando with still only 3 seconds to his day, but Toxic, who's not technically in this fight, does move past anyway. And is he planning to maybe drag Campbell up into race winning contention? We'll see how that unfolds there, but Lando still leads the way out there, keeping his cool up at the front. Those medium tires will start to degrade in the later stages of this race, so we'll see how that works out then. As yeah, I think we're seeing some of these guys playing around with the rear end of the car heading through that last section. Those top 4 though have been in a real class of their own, as they were through much of last season. It is a 11.5 second gap from Verstappen to Killer Blue as those 4 run clear up at the front. Larkin now looks to be the next driver to challenge Killer Blue, who runs on his own, but he's going to get joined. His presence will be threatened by those 3 Supersoft runners. Larkin predictably with the fastest lap of the race, and Nolan just tops that. So those guys with the Supersoft tires, they are flying. How far can he get as Campbell picks up a penalty? That's hugely important for the race win.
That's crucial because I was just checking on the interval timings. Lando already had a 3-second advantage basically over Campbell before he picked up that penalty. So that now throws Lando back essentially into the race win. Toxic 2nd, Campbell 3rd, Verstappen and 4th. Verstappen is trying to eke closer to these guys, but he just hasn't got the pace, I think, to try and catch these. Watch out for Larkin in behind, though, because Larkin is catching Killer Blue. We've got Tin Can right on the back as Vadema as well. That's going to be quite an interesting battle, I think. Tin Can, 5/10 per second off him. He's been catching and catching over the last couple of laps, and he'll be hoping to try and get this move done. Speaking of getting moves done, Campbell trying to go on the inside line of Toxic. No, he's going to back off coming in towards turn 12. We remain as we are. Lando 3 seconds over Toxic from Campbell in 3rd. Dylan has gone through on TDB's AI further down the field, and here comes Larkin on the back of Killer Blue. The straight is going to run out in time though, and Killer Blue will remain 5th. Tin Can on the back of Zerderma. He's been wanting to get past him, and now he has. Down the straight, into the braking zone. Zerderma's really late on the brakes, though. He'll try and switch it back through turn 12, but no, Tin Can is through, and he's into 9th position. Not such a tin can anymore. As Larkin is through on Killer Blue. Killer Blue switches it back through 15 and gets the move done. Brilliant switch back for now Larkin on the inside line, trying to get the move done. Super Softs against mediums. You would favour the Super Softs, trying to get past Larkin. Killer Blue, they're trying to give each other as much room as possible through the final 2 corners. Larkin around the outside of turn 19. Killer Blue is still there. He's still not got a full car width ahead, and now Killer Blue on the inside line. Larkin on the outside line. Down the straight we go onto lap 14, and Larkin now just about to out-drag him. Look at Miami catching as well. He's on the Super Softs, and he's beginning to close in as well. Killer Blue now to the inside line. Can he get the move done on Larkin? Just about. Larkin, though, is fighting back, tries to get the traction, runs into the back of him, and look at Miami. Miami is coming into play. The 2 BWT Ardens are wanting to fight on Killer Blue. Killer Blue's got absolutely no chance surely running down this straight.
This is phenomenal! What a battle that was, wheel to wheel! Do you remember the 24-hour event, James, and the battle that those two had there? History appears to be repeating itself. Look at Miami, he's right with them now, but surely Killer Blue doesn't have anything to fight with now. Larkin, right there with him then, looks to the inside line, hangs back for the moment as they head into turn 11. Look at the 2 Ardens, they are right on the rear wing of Killer, who surely cannot hold them back. Larkin is first to pull out in a slipstream, pull alongside and get through, but look at the run that Miami has. He is in the slipstream with his teammate, pulls to the outside line, surely not both of them in one. Lord Miami incredibly late on the brakes, runs it round the outside. It's not over, but Miami, wow, that was absolutely brilliant, sensational from Miami 5, who gets the pair of them and puts one over on his more experienced teammate. Brilliant stuff. Miami now runs 5th. Larkin in behind him, set. Killer Blue couldn't hold them back. He drops down to 7th. They flip positions entirely. What a move from Miami.
I literally called it halfway down the straight. He was going to get both of them, and then he went around the outside of turn 12. Absolutely unbelievable stuff from Miami. Larkin, though, I get the feeling that he might have just let his teammate through there, to be honest. It looked like a bit of an early break rather than a bit of a let-through, to be honest. Here comes Killer Blue, though, still on the back of Larkin. 2 more laps to go. Lando leads 2.4 seconds. That gap is just beginning to eke away slightly. I wonder if Lando has just made a slight mistake out on track, because he's 2.2 ahead of Toxic. Campbell 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Miami 5th. Larkin 6th, Killer Blue 7th, Nolan 8th. We've got the sprint race to come. And Nolan currently, if he doesn't latch onto the back of these guys, he's going to be in a reverse grid pole position.
Yeah, he's managed to hold stationary nicely in that 8th place, and this is very strange for me because he always seems to end up in these positions. I don't know how he does it, but Nolan, seemingly uncannily, is able to always find himself in that 8th position and near the front of the reverse grid race. I am noticing Killer Blue, he's still with Larkin. Larkin hasn't been able to move away here. His pace seems to have dropped off, and I'm wondering, they did make a bit of contact at turn 2. I'm wondering if Larkin maybe picked up a little bit of damage. I'm looking for a camera angle that actually is going to give me a good view of that then. As I'm seeing the rear of his car, I'm not sure if you're getting the exact same. No visible damage, but his pace has certainly dropped off. And Killer's staying with him. Miami, though, runs comfortably 5th place, no penalties. I think he can drive at home. It wasn't the podium that I predicted him, but it still looks like a solid enough drive from Miami. He can now just about bring this one home up at the further race. And as we head out to the final lap of the race, Lando holding firm. I don't think he's absolutely flat out at this stage. He knows he hasn't won, as Toxic just not quite able to get through at the end. And it looks like boring disaster on the final lap from Lando. Maybe a penalty can shake things up, but Lando, Exile Lando, heading for the race victory, just needs to navigate this last lap, and he'll make a statement, I'm sure, in front of heading the new season.
Yeah, and I hope he doesn't pick up a penalty coming through the S section to really ruin us. I've got to be honest, I was hoping for a bit of a commentator's curse there, but no, he hasn't. Verstappen, though, has. He's got a 3-second time penalty, and that's going to put pressure on possibly Toxic, because he's also got 9 seconds worth of penalties. Miami is 14 seconds off. 9 seconds, yeah, he's not going to catch the gap, is he? I don't think, in the final lap of the race. But Lando Wright leading this race. 2 seconds the gap from Toxic second, Campbell third, Verstappen fourth, Miami in fifth, Larkin in sixth, Kilbrew seventh. Look at Nolan's pace. Nolan is right on the back of these guys onto the final lap of the race. I think because Larkin is just struggling, I think, with the tyres rather than a bit of front wing damage he might have picked up. I think that's the tyres. The tyre deck around this track on that set of softs is like, what, 6%, I think, on that set of tyres. And we saw from the early pit stops that they couldn't make it that long. Lando, though, is coming through the final couple of corners for the final time in the feature race. It's been a phenomenal drive from Lando out on track. And Toxic around through turn 15 for the final time. I'll let you take the finish, Dan.
So here we go then. XL Lando. He added frustrating end to the season, really. A couple of victories at slipped his grasp, as Zwedema has had some battles further down the field there with Tin Can. They are going at it on this final lap. We'll come to the front though, as XL Lando, round the final corner, wins the second event here of pre-season. Toxic gives up that second place, and he will hold on to the podium. They are still battling down the field. Brilliant stuff. And Zenema coming back in Tin Can. Heading to turn 17, gets cut off in the end. But Tin Can struggling to navigate this final lap. Miami will cross the final line. He does get up into fifth place there. Killer Blue jumps Larkin into sixth. Nolan will hang on to the reverse crit race. Look at Zenema hounding Tin Can to the line. Tin Can will just about hold on as break with penalties. Risa in behind. There's a massive gap behind to Rocco. That will round off as Risa. Oh, is that right to the line? Risa, he must have done that on purpose, I suspect.
I think he's trying to celebrate coming across the line and he's crashed. And I think if you want to try and be that funny, yeah, you've just ended up with a bit of karma there, I've got to be honest. Rocco in what will be 12th position when he comes across the line. Not his day at all. He made 2 pit stops as well, which added about 25 seconds onto his time. So Rocco's going to be coming across the line in 12th. Chill and Dylan will pick up 13th and 14th. TDB will pick up essentially 15th, but he is in an AI, and I think he's not going to pick up that position because Chill and Dylan are human cars just ahead of him out on track. Through the final corner, Chill comes at the final corner. He's managed to actually come across the line. That's how you cross the line. And Dylan across the line in 14th.
So that is going to be it then for the first race of the evening. Very entertaining one, it must be said. But it was XL Lando who did come through with the race victory, and a pretty comfortable one at that in the end. He looked to have the pace, really. Campbell couldn't quite stay with him. Toxic just left it too late with a few mistakes early on in the race that cost him dearly. So, yeah, I think we have, on the basis of that, and the first time we've really been able to see those guys that will be filling up the first division of League of Europe Formula 2. And based off of that, we may well have a great championship fight on our hands when it comes around. Lando wins today in front of Campbell and in front of Toxic. That is your podium for the first race of the evening here at Circuit of the Americas. The sprint race coming up next with the top 8 that are going to be reversed. And I'll leave it to Mr. James Head to take us through the results. They just come up on your screen now.
At least I didn't get called Aiden that time. We are. Lando on top from Campbell in second. Toxic in there with Verstappen in fourth. Really good drives, I'm going to say, from the top 4 out on track. Miami in fifth, picking up the fastest lap. Now, the fastest lap point is not available within pre-season. Not sure if it will be, of course, in the rules and regs for the actual season. Killer Blue in sixth, Lark in seventh, Nolan in eighth, Tin Can in ninth, getting ahead of Zwedema, and Zwedema really hounding the back of him in 10th as we go spot on into the reverse grid race. And of course, the reverse grid race means Nolan is on pole position and the top 8 are reversed round. So Nolan on top, and then the rest follow suit with your race winner last time out, of course, Lando in 8th position as we are coming on to the track now. And ready to get going once again for this sprint race. I cannot wait. If it's anything like the opening laps of the feature race, we might have an all-race battle all night long.
That would certainly be a bit of a thriller on our hands. Let's see if that is going to live up to it, though. These drivers, of course, will be rating up, as you mentioned, the top 8 from that feature race that you just saw witnessed. We are going to be going into it now, so let's see how it's going to work out. Of course, please keep nice and safe there, James. We are we're getting ourselves right into things then, into proceedings. Loading screen now concludes, and we can get this one underway. It is, I believe, going to be Nolan on the front of the grid, ahead of last season's championship contender and long-time championship leader, Larkin, who joins him alongside on the front row. I suspect everyone apart from Dylan, actually, is on the mediums, Dylan on the super softs, which probably has something to do with his disconnection earlier, I suspect. But Dylan down there in 13th place. Nolan leads the way, though, and we'll see if he can hold on to it. We saw him battling hard in the sprint races, particularly towards the end of last season, so we'll see how that goes then. But you suspect, with some very, very fast drivers behind him, that holding that race lead is going to be a really tough ask.
It's going to be a really tough ask, yeah, but obviously we saw in Zandvoort last week he could hold a really good battle within the sprint races and then try and come out on top with it as well. So Nolan, I think, might have that advantage. If Larkin and Killablu, those two, really begin to battle, they continue their little tirade, I think, from 24 hours of Formula One, they continue that battle. If those guys continue that, I think Nolan can steal away by about 1.2, 1.3 seconds at the end of lap 1 if Killablu gets a really good jump on Larkin, goes in towards someone, they make a bit of contact, then if Constantine is up in behind, goodness knows what will happen. Yeah, I think Dylan's disconnection might have caused him to go on a set of super softs. He will have to pit onto a set of medium compound of tyre because of that. Those super softs can hardly make 5 laps, never mind the full distance of 11 laps here for this sprint race. It's going to be fascinating to see. I would love to see Zwadema do well as well. He's in 10th position out on track. He's behind Tinkan, he's behind Lando, obviously the winner of the feature race. Zwadema has got pace, and that's what I think will come true. And we should see a really good battle as well between Toxic and Campbell trying to continue on their feature race battle. But we cannot wait to bring you the action for the sprint race, and it's about to get going very shortly indeed.
Yeah, you mentioned Zwadema there. Throughout last season, he had quite a few podiums in sprint races just by staying out of trouble and not picking up penalties. He was able to grab a few surprises and was very consistent over the whole season, which is why he finished relatively high up, well inside the top 10 in the standings. So keep an eye out for him in that sprint race. If we get a bit of a chaotic one, that will open the door for the Dutchman, I am sure. So Nolan leads them round. Larkin will join him on the front row then, and that's going to be an exciting battle, I'm sure, heading into the first few corners, which will be covered by my co-commentator James Head, who I will hand over for the start of the sprint race. Nolan on pole position. Will he hold on to it for the 11-lap distance? Let's find out now.
Let's find out indeed, and thank you, Dan, for that as we come now in towards the 11 laps that await the drivers here in the sprint race. We're about to get going very shortly indeed. The 5 red lights are now about to light up your screens. Nolan on pole, Larkin alongside him in the sprint race in pre-season race 2. Lights out and away we go. Larkin gets a very good start, but Nolan gets the best launch out of everyone. Miami's already gone through, and Killablu and Verstappen has as well. Great stop by Lando. He's trying to force his way up on Toxic down the inside line, but it's Nolan who leads through turn 1. Larkin into second, Miami third, Verstappen fourth. Killablu's had an absolute shocker. He's all the way down into 7th early on. Verstappen and Lando going side by side, coming through the S section. A little bit of contact further down. Zwadema's dropped a few positions. Tinkan dropping a few positions as they come through the S section for the first time in the sprint race. Nolan, though, 9/10 of a second. Literally what I said in the formation lap has just happened. 7/10 of a second now the gap. Larkin in second, Miami in third. Toxic fourth. Lando and Verstappen, having a really good battle. Verstappen on the inside line. Lando forced out wide. A little bit of contact between them both, but Verstappen gets the traction, gets the position, and he's now doing the face. Contact, and Lando's into the wall. A little bit of a desync there. I think Verstappen just moved across, might have just nicked a little bit of a radar there. Miami is right on the back of Larkin, running down the straight. Nolan, though, is 9.5 tenths out in front. Larkin in second now. But Miami, his teammate, is going to come alongside him, running down in towards turn 12. Can he get the move done, Miami? Yes, he can. Down the inside, and here comes Toxic as well. Toxic trying to make it 2 for 1. Buy one, get one free. Children in the background. He's been contacted, I think, by Campbell there, if I'm not mistaken. Dylan is making his way through the field eye-catchingly, but Nolan leads. Miami second. Toxic on the inside line. Campbell on the inside line as well of Killablu. Killablu's had an absolute shocker, but Toxic's through and he's up into third. There's so much going on. Please continue, Dan.
What an absolutely enthralling first lap yet again. But Nolan did get that jump off the line and he leads. Miami second. Toxic, a brilliant start though. Run on to that third place, and he's desperate for vengeance after a less that brilliant feature race. He runs up behind Miami, and he's looking to get alongside already. It was a brilliant run coming up the last corner. Toxic gets alongside Miami onto the brakes. Who's going to be the braver? The inside line is with Toxic, the place with Toxic, and the orders make contact. Toxic under pressure on the eggs of Miami, tried to come back at him, couldn't quite manage it. Run out of road, run out of space, and he has to sit him behind. An incredible start here in this race, and you can see the order's been dramatically shaken up through that incredible first lap of proceedings. It is hopefully the graphics will begin to sort themselves out eventually, but it is indeed XL Nolan that leads the way from Toxic now, charging hard in that second place and trying to chase him down out there. We'll see if he can do that successfully. Then it's two Ordens there. You have Miami, you have Larkin, then you have Verstappen, as that was a big movement there for Miami, and now Larkin looking to take advantage. He has a good run, he pulls up to the outside line, and they're going to go to war here. The Pink Panthers in onto the brakes. There is nothing to choose between them. Who is going to be braver? Yet again, it's a battle of last lane breakers. It's Larkin who runs deeper in the outside, gets squeezed out though, couldn't quite find a way through. He looks a little bit to back down the inside though, cut off the way to turn 13, and Verstappen is right there with them. As any move's going to come through there. It's a lunge for Verstappen down the inside. He has to stop it to run over into Miami. Pinched on the inside line, and Larkin fights back. Brilliant battling yet again, and they're keeping it just about clean. But down the field, there was Rocco battling with Racer, and yet again, battling, dueling all the way throughout the field. And you can see Rocco really holding back Racer in that battle. They run very close up at the front then, as Campbell as well beginning to hassle his former teammate Verstappen up in that battle for third place at the moment on the road, still led by Miami. They hold in formation then down the straight. Verstappen looks to the inside, looks to fight another day though. He sits in behind. A 4-car battle for third. Miami is going to be under huge pressure now with DRS active.
Down the inside, Hand of Rage comes up from Reese's driver, but he's through. Down the inside line of turn 1, gets the move done on Rocco, but he immediately lets the position go. I think there was an illegal overtake there. Matthias now trying to fight on the exit line. Rocco, by the way, had a bit of a half spin coming through the turn 14 complex, and he lost 2 positions to Tin Cannon Brake, so that's why he's now down in P10. That redraw, though, from Risa, quite dangerous. Yellow flag in Sector 3 is Chill, who I think has crashed into the pit lane, if I'm not mistaken. So Chill really not having the medicine, the medicaments, I think, out on track to try and continue on. He's retired coming into the pit lane. Verstappen then is right on the back of Larkin. Dutchman against Brit. QVR against, well, an affiliated member of a team. Larkin now down the inside line, Verstappen down the inside line of Larkin, and I think because of the overcommitment from Larkin, Verstappen has got through for QVR, and it's now a QVR sandwich because Larkin and Campbell let the LOE Division 1 battle commence.
Yeah, these three fought for second place in the championship last season, and now they're fighting on track for fourth place at the moment down there. They've yet a couple of the younger faces out there getting the better of them. Miami still holding on nicely in that third position, and Nolan still doing a fantastic job as Nolan. I was expecting Toxic to really win quite substantially. He is catching it, but not at the rate that I was expecting, and he is going to have to try and fight his way through, but he has the DRS active now, and Toxic MML may well be looking for the race lead. Looks to the inside line, up to the outside line as Nolan covers it off. Does Toxic have the grip to go all the way around? No, he doesn't, as now Campbell or Larkin down to turn 1 there. Larkin runs it back around the outside, they get close, they get very close, heading through turn 2, then the short run as with Larkin and Campbell all the way around the outside there. Campbell is over in 5th place. Brilliant racing yet again, and Campbell moves forward, now up in a P5 out then. So he's now looking to try and stay with Verstappen. Those two will not be teammates next season, so they're going at it. Toxic out with a penalty. That changes things. All of a sudden Nolan, he may well lose the race leader out on track, but he still has a good chance in this one, as Toxic seemingly has not been able to avoid those penalties here tonight. But now, can he find a way through? Oh, Nolan out there on the track. The DRS is now open. Is Nolan going to cover the inside line? He stays middle of the road, and Toxic opts for the outside line, but he may well clear him before they reach the braking zone, and Toxic now leads the way in front of XL Nolan, led a bit of rear sliding under braking, but Toxic fades the race lead at last, but can he pull out that 3-second gap that he needs here? As I'm seeing battling further down there, that's Rocco and Break down there as well.
Just about getting away with that, Rocco. If I'm going to be honest, he's a bit of a braking marker, but he's through. He's up into 9th. Break now into 10th. I don't think Break will be happy with that because he's just been Break. He nearly broke his front wing, to be honest, Rocco on the back of Break. Reese is right on the back of him. Matthias continuing on. Dylan, by the way, retired into the pit lane. Again, a bit poor. We have to find out what these drivers' paces are like. And again, a bit poor, but he was on a set of super soft compounded tyres. So I think we'll let him off with that one. Verstappen right on the backfield of Miami. Out of the final corner, Miami now going to be centre Ibiza. Running down the straight by Verstappen. You'll get that one if you're a fan of music. Verstappen now on the inside line. Miami on the outside line, and Verstappen should sail on by. But Miami tries to cut back Campbell very late on the brakes in behind him. But Verstappen is through, and he has sent Miami into Ibiza, and he's through and he's up to 3rd.
I wonder how many references we're going to get across the entire season there, as Miami uncharacteristically picks up a penalty. They come flooding in there, as Campbell gets one, Larkin gets one as well. That's also uncharacteristic. Tankan as well picking up one there, down in that 8th place. So they really came flooding in through that S section on the 5th lap here in the USA. So let's see now if this trade, if the order of the trade is going to change hands, as Campbell also now reigns in Miami. But of course, Miami will have the DRS still of Verstappen to defend him of that 4th place. And you can see the rear wings opening on the Arden and on the Univirtuosi as they power down the back straight for the 5th time in this sprint race. And I don't think we're going to get any changes here. Everyone's just holding in formation as Verstappen holding the ball back in that train. Just holding it steady at the moment. There's Break again, fitting back on Rocco. They're going at it again, and Break trying to go round the outside. He's late on those brakes, but he runs out wide, just too committed. And now Racer draws alongside, looks around the outside, and can he get on one done there? He's going to get squeezed out there though, as Racer almost loses the car going through turn 14. Wow, just about keeps it on. Break coming back, and Rocco ran wide, but Rocco just about able to cut in front and maintain 9th. Those guys going at it, they've lost contact with the group ahead, but they are still fighting tooth and nail for all those positions out there on the track then. Toxic still leads onto lap 6, but no one has not been detached. Still it's the DRS, and Toxic with a penalty. He's going to have to really work for the race win here if he wants to get away from this pre-season with a single victory under his belt. Toxic leads, but Nolan is not being shaken off. If he can avoid a penalty, he's the favourite for this race win as it stands.
Toxic is better through the middle sector, I think, because he pulled out 1.1 seconds over Nolan, and literally as right on cue, Rocco was just spun coming out of turn 1, and he's lost the car. He's down to 13th now, but Toxic has pulled out that 1.1 second gap. He's so good through the first sector, and then it's almost as if he just ebbs away on the speed. Nolan now 1.2 seconds, 1.3 seconds now behind him, so he's beginning to pick up the pace now, Toxic. I wonder actually if it's a little bit of a case of time management with Toxic out on track, because it's 1.3 seconds the gap. He might try and save up the tyres coming through this final sector. Nolan will try and push through the final sector, but they've got to be careful because Verstappen, Miami, Campbell, Larkin are now all beginning to chomp at the bit. Matthias, by the way, is going to try and get a move done on Risa. IFR again, side max running down the straight. And Matthias, of course, a two-time winner in the 24 Hours of F1 event against Risa, who I think ran against him in one of the races that I commentated on. Certainly here's Matthias down the inside line, and he gets the move done. Down the inside and towards P10. Much better showing from Matthias this week, I've got to be honest. He gets the move done, he's up into 10th.
Yeah, he has been struggling, I think, with his F2 cars, but he's adapting a bit better. But is he getting under pressure? Oh, I thought that he was going to get a lot from Risa, but he hangs back for the moment. And Zerder now lining them both up in that battle over 10th, 11th and 12th. Out there on the road, they now roll on to the 7th lap of the race, and Toxic beginning to really stretch his legs now, as I think this was a mistake from Nolan. He's dropped back considerably on this lap. I think he must have made a major error, and now that race victory that he looked to be contending for now beginning to slip away from him because he's not able to get that one back together, and Toxic now leads by a considerable 2.4 second margin now in this race. So one error from Nolan, and now he finds himself under pressure. Verstappen, Miami, Campbell and Larkin are now with him in this incredibly competitive sprint race. But Toxic has stolen the march in this one now. Can he pull out another half a second? And he needs to wrap up the race victory here in this sprint race. Can Toxic, the defending champion, the two-time champion, see it through here with 4.5 to go? And surely Nolan is going to be under pressure. Verstappen chasing him down. Miami, Campbell and Larkin, they're not out of the fight either. We have a huge 5-way fight now building up for second place. Who's going to come in on top of this one? I don't think they're going to be swaps. They're going to be swapping on this lap. But Nolan under pressure. Can he hold firm though? Verstappen with DRS closing right down on him heading into turn 12.
Yeah, Toxic really impressing now with the pace. Nolan 2.7 seconds down, but Nolan is holding his own against some of the league's best drivers as Campbell picks up a 3-second time penalty through turn 12. Zvedema is through on Risa running down the straight as well. Risa's got to try and come back at him, though, coming through turn 12, but no, Zvedema through and he's into 11th. Risa having a bit of a half spin. Coming out, Matthias are beginning to catch break as well. Out on track, so that could form into a bit of a battle, but Nolan trying to hold his own. It's now pretty much 3 seconds, the gap, and Toxic is really excelling out on track. And Excel, Nolan, in second, is trying to hang on from Verstappen, Miami, Campbell, Larkin, all beginning to chomp at the bit, all wanting this second position. We've got 4 more laps to go. Toxic leads. Nolan second, Verstappen in third, and Verstappen might have a sneaky look running down in towards turn 1 possibly. He's got the overrun, but he's not going to have the speed to try and get the move done. He's not close enough in the end. Verstappen holds on for third, Nolan's still in second, but look, the gap. More that Nolan holds these guys up, the more that Toxic will begin to pull away. But Toxic's Achilles heel, right on cue, is a time penalty, and that has nothing to do with a bottle that I did in Japan either.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Let's see though if Toxic is able to pull out that gap yet again, but his task has got an awful lot tougher against Nolan, who still runs in that range, but he has to keep within 2 seconds, and Toxic's pace at the moment is electric. He is cruising away at the moment, and Verstappen maybe will fancy his chances of getting an overtake done and maybe try to reel in Toxic in the race lead, because DRS now coming into play for QVR Verstappen, but he's a little ways back there. Nolan has some good straight line speed, I think, but now the overspeed comes into play, and Verstappen now to the inside lane, breaks very, very late at turn 12 then, he runs out wide, forces Nolan onto the curb, and they're still side by side with the traction with Verstappen, and he gets through it up in his second place now. QVR Verstappen, he's got 4.2 seconds behind, he's got an awful lot to make up. It's now Larkin on Campbell, they're going wheel to wheel again now, heading in at turn 15 and turn 16, ready outside. Can Larkin get that one done? Wheel to wheel all the way through. Brilliant, brilliant racing. Who's going to come out on top here? Can Larkin see it through? Yes, he can. Brilliant from Larkin. No, it's not over yet though. Campbell looking back to the inside. He does not want to get this one up then. He forces Larkin out wide onto the curb, and they almost touch again on the exit. And now parallel down the straight. Who's going to come in on top of this one? There's nothing to choose between them but the inside line with Campbell. They're braking with Larkin, but surely he cannot go all the way to the outside. Campbell defends it, oversteering the exit. Larkin trying to fight back at him. No, just about covered off then. And a thrilling battle over 5th place. We're right, son. It's dropped them both off the back of Miami. Now Campbell has to fight to make sure he stays in that DRS range as we head to the straight in just a few corners time.
Yeah, Larkin right on the back of Campbell. Tin Can just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track. Some tumbleweed, I think, will be coming his way because of that 3-second time penalty. Very bad indeed. Break on the back of Tin Can, trying to close him down. But Verstappen now, because he's in a bit of clear air, is just trying to bridge that gap out. Toxic is 4.7 seconds, now 4.4. Verstappen's not losing that much time to Toxic, and I think Toxic is going to struggle to try and pick up the rest of the 1.5 seconds that he needs to try and win this sprint race. Miami's closing in on the back of Nolan. Nolan, again, being really impressed by his drive, and he is holding his own for 3rd position currently. If he gets on the podium, it'll be a phenomenal drive. But remember, he hasn't got a penalty. Verstappen has. Nolan could win this.
Yeah, but he has the whole station out there, and now these experienced drivers beginning to rein him in. Look at Miami now, beginning to pile on that pressure. Nolan is almost out of that DRS range. He's really pushing it hard, but he is beginning to slip back now, and Verstappen pouring it on now. His pace is matching, but he gets another penalty, and that surely renders his chances of winning this race almost nil now, as he now is going to struggle to even maintain a podium place. It stands with how close it is in the center of the field. Campbell is raiding in Miami as well. They're all bunching up. They're all condensing. And the battle still rages on. We have 2 laps to go. Late launch for Campbell down on Miami. He gets it stopped and turned in. Reaches the apex in the corner. But can he get through it in a turn 2? They're still side by side. Can Campbell get a preposterous move done? Surely Miami has to get out of it. He does. Gets a penalty for his troubles as well as he was squeezed out by Campbell. He's coming back down the inside. No, that's covered over in a turn 7 by the Scotsman who holds on, but he's lost that DRS. Miami though out a little bit wide, and Larkin maybe fancying his chances with a switchback with the exit. Through goes Larkin, and Miami had nothing to fight with. He was offline, and Miami losing 2 places in one sector now down in the P6.
Yeah, Campbell getting the move done. He's up into 4th. Larkin now 5th. Larkin's got a chance actually of getting a podium out of this race. Nolan is hanging on the cusp, I should say, not the cusp, on the cusp of that 6 seconds gap to Toxic. It's 5.6 as they come down in towards turn 12. It's going to be literally nip and tuck. If Toxic's tyres go off and Verstappen can try and pick him up and drag Nolan with him, Nolan has still got a chance of winning this. I'm going to be monitoring that gap so closely out on track. Brake is on the back of Tin Can. Risa, by the way, has picked up 12 seconds worth of penalties as well out on track, but Brake is right on the back of Tin Can, trying to put him under a bit of pressure, but he's not close enough. He's got no penalties, he's going to be gaining as Lando and Rocco are going at it for the wooden spoon out on track in 14th and 15th.
Yeah, Lando actually has a puncture, I think. Trying to take those tires all the way through. You can see the vibration of that tyre. So he's picked up a puncture then. That's why he's dropped back. It's been a disastrous race here for XL Lando after a brilliant win last time out, and he's going to have to get back to the pits now. You can see him running out wide. We're now on to the final lap, and Nolan looks to be renewed now with these fresh tyres. He now just needs to avoid a penalty through this S section. Nolan's not out of this. Toxic needs a fabulous last lap to pull this one out then. Can Toxic get him out, the defending champion, do it? This is a real test of his character. It's only pre-season, but every mental edge you can get will count with 6 seconds of penalties and still winning a race. That would be quite a bit of a slap on the wrist for all of his competitors, but it is not done yet. He's now got about 9/10s. I think Nolan's beginning to slip back then, and now he's on a knife edge. It's down to the final half a lap here in the USA, but Toxic, a fabulous run down that S edge, and he did exactly what he did. Now he's out that window just about, and Nolan does not have the DRS correctly. No, he does actually, my mistake. He did just about manage to hold on to it. He pulls back, and there's nothing to choose between them as now the audience are going at it back there. Now to the inside, Miami just about hangs back from that one. Larkin maintaining that 5th position as he can hold on to the flag. It is now all down to this final sector for the race victory now.
God.
Let's switch to the gap to the leader. It's 5.7 seconds, a quarter of a second in hand for Nolan, but can Toxic pull it out? It's coming back out again. It may well just be on these last 2 corners. Can Toxic make up the difference? Here we go now. Toxic giving it everything and everything now into that final corner, and Toxic comes over the line. It's going to be down to the last corner, and Nolan slips back on the entry, gets a better exit right to the line. He just misses out. Toxic hangs on to it by the smallest of margins. Toxic wins it by less than a 10th of a second. Incredible stuff. Verstappen is indeed in 3rd place, just in front of Larkin. Campbell 5th, Miami 6th, Brake 7th, Zunma 8th, Killablu 9th. 10th goes to Matthias there, 11th, Tin Can, 12th, Risa. Rocco will cross the line next in 13th place. That is the end of this night of racing. My voice has not been at its best. I've not been feeling well all day, so apologies for the slightly below par commentary on my end, but superb stuff there. Toxic, it was a test of his character. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, but he came through in the end, and he's won that race by the smallest of margins.
If Nolan got a better run out that final corner, Nolan would have had that. And his first sector wasn't that great either, so I think there's something to look back on there for Nolan. But didn't he do well? It's like Bruce Forsyth back in the 80s. Didn't he do well? Nolan right on the back of Toxic in the end, 800th of a second. Yellowflag Tech 3, Lando actually retired from the session coming across the line, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not sure if he gets classified within the result, but Toxic taking the win out on track. Driver of the day, and he spawns up on my screen as Matthias. Matthias awarded Driver of the Day by the in-game fans. We now look to the podium celebrations, and it is the defending champion, Toxic, who takes it by the narrowest of margins, 84 hundredths of a second.
Absolutely incredible. It's not the closest finish I've commentated on. I think you probably know what that is because you're alongside me for that one again. But Toxic does win the T narrowly in front of Exile Nolan. Great drive though to hold on to second. Verstappen does have to settle for third in the end. He holds off Larkin though, able to make up the difference with that extra penalty. Campbell, he was really in the wars of those two PWT drivers. He gets fifth in the end, splitting them. Miami in sixth there. Breaking 7 this time without a penalty in front of Zauner at 8th, Killaboo 9th, Matthias in 10th place, running out the top 10 in this race. Then outside of that, you have Tin Can Racer, TDB, Rocco. Lando was classified, but he didn't cross the finish line as such. Dylan and Chill, who unfortunately didn't see out the race. That is going to be it then for what has been a very entertaining night of racing. The feature race, of course, going to Lando. The sprint race going. That is going to be it for the race here tonight. Peak for both of us that we are really excited.
It's going to be fantastic in an all-star Bahrain for round 1 of the championship for season, correct me if I'm wrong, season 5 now of League of Europe Formula 2. It's going to be fantastic, I think.
It certainly will be. There is no doubt about that. So I don't think there's really much more to say than that. Season it is season 4, yes.
Season 4. I said season 5. Season 4. Just to correct myself there.
Season 4 of the season 5. Sorry, of the F1 leagues. That may have been where it came from. But that is going to be it then for this race, and I believe it is for me. I'm not sure if it is for you, James. This is my last commentary of this calendar year. I'm not sure if it's the same for you, if you have anything else in store these last few days.
I don't, sadly. Yeah, this is the last one of the new year, and I think from all of us here at League of Europe, we want to wish everyone a very happy and prosperous new year. Let's hope 2021 is going to be better than 2020, because if we deserve a lift, it is with 2021 up and coming. The vaccines are coming as well. It should be one of the highlights of the years. We should be seeing the roaring 2020s come back in force. And I'm sure from all of us here at League of Europe, from all the admins, from all the commentators, from everybody associated with this league, please stay safe and please have a very happy new year. Stay responsible. If you're going to a party with 100 people, don't. Otherwise, you'll get a £200 fine.
Yes, please stick to guidelines. Please make sure you're keeping yourselves safe and sound, and yeah, we can all get through this together, and we can return to normal life as soon as possible. I'm sure that's all that we'd love to happen. But yes, just to echo what James has said, we wish you all a happy new year, and hopefully next year is far better for all of us. But I guess for the last race broadcast of League of Europe for the year 2020, it's been an absolute privilege to take you through proceedings all the way throughout this year. So, with everything said and done, is it not quite said and done, James?
Can I plug something that's up and coming with the League of Europe?
Go on.
Season 5, the calendar is slowly getting released. Our start date for League of Europe Season 5 for the F1 leagues and for PC League as well is the 30th of January, and it's in Spielberg in Austria. So the original start date of being in June, of course, this year for Spielberg, that is round 1 of the calendar. It's slowly getting announced at League of Europe on Twitter if you do want to keep up to date with all things necessary with the Season 5 calendar. And I believe the awards night is coming up this week, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So that's going to be quite interesting. Me and Dan are going to be, hopefully, voted... One of us, at least, is going to be voted commentator of the season, and to whoever it may concern, 2 words. There.
Well, we'll see if we can make it a 3-in-a-row run between the two of us, if it may the best man win in that case. So that is going to be it then, I think, for this night of Formula 2 racing and for League of Europe racing in 2020. So with everything said and done, I've been Daniel Hogard, he's been James Head, and until next time, we'll see you later.